Okay, boys, yesterday we had the introductory part of psychology. We covered TAT, thematical perception test. Today we will be continuing our psychology session and we will be commencing with the WAT, so word association test. And here we have the 60 words, and for that you know that for each word 15 seconds are distributed. There are certain do and don'ts you have to keep in mind. And when we talk about WAT, it is quite spontaneous reactions are needed. It means that the time will be very stringent, and on that basis you have to give your original reaction, not the cram reaction. Okay, so we will be continuing this session with having some do and don'ts. So you have to respond to the word. It means the word will be there on the screen for 15 seconds, and utilizing that much of time you have to write a meaningful sentence. So I say that meaningful sentence, what does it mean? It simply means that the sentence should make some sense. You cannot write any factual knowledge like blood is red because of hemoglobin. That is not going to leave any kind of trait impact on the psychologist. But you have to say related to blood means donating the blood is a noble cause. It simply shows that you are having some humanitarian angle of your heart. So that is the meaning of it. So you will be making those sentences in WAT. The next is, this is not a test of English. Yesterday I am quite giving my irony here, because yesterday I said that it is a test of English, but in PPDT here you can write any sentence, maybe in Hindi, but that should leave some kind of impact or should show some traits there. Okay, but you cannot write any kind of jargon. It means that the language should be refined. The next is, the first response is the most thing or most desired by the psychologist. It means you cannot overthink, and if you overthink you will lose the time, and the next slide will be there on the screen. It means that you have to quickly react, and whatever comes in your mind first you have to write down. Next is you have to use the past tense. Yesterday we discussed that entire psychology is conducted in the past tense. So you have to use past tense wisely, and like the auxiliary verbs are totally prohibited, like may not, should, would, these should not be used preferably, because that leaves some kind of suggestory measure. But you are suggesting something, it does not mean that you can do it. You have to show something that leaves the masses. Next is, the word can be used in other forms like noun, verbs, adjectives, and change of gender and tenses. It means that, for an example, the first thing I can take noun. So noun means if I use the verb like, the verb is there like water. The water is also a verb, it is also a noun. So you can use in the both past, means you can play with the grammatical part of the English. Okay, you can make it verb, adjective, adverb, or if there is a male then you can show the female. These things you can play in the WAT. Next is the using the opposite sense of the given word, like there is a word of coward and you are not finding any kind of meaningful sentence there. So you can turn it into brave. It means the opposite word of coward is brave. So you can use brave in the place of coward, because there is a negativity exhibited when you use coward. Same thing like lazy. So you can use energetic, enthusiastic. So it means that still you are making the sense there, or it is allowed, but not on all cases. On very few cases where you are not getting the meaning, so you can come to the opposite part. Next is, you can use the names, like any name of your friend. Those are allowed again on the limited cases, but preferably you have to use the common noun. The next is the complete the sentence, because the time is 15 seconds and you cannot write 2 sentences for one word. It means that you have to write short sentence and you have to make it quick there. So it should make some sense there, like donating the blood is a noble cause. So it is not taking too much time, not too much place, and you can make the meaning. The next is the serial, because if you miss any word, leave the blank there. That lacuna will show that you are showing the forwarded word, like the 13th word you have missed. So leave the place there, then come to the 14th and you can note down. When you get the time, then you can come to the 13th and you can rewrite there. But never change the serial number, because the psychologist will be very hard to understand what you have written there. The next is making the sentence with I, myself, mine, me. Those are strictly prohibited, because that will be self-centered or self-conceited, and it will show some kind of the personality which is confined to yourself. Okay, so avoid them. So giving advisory like should, could, as I already mentioned, are prohibited, so you should not do that. The next is preferably should not start with sentence with word, like avoid is the word. So you don't have to use the word in the first place, and second, you cannot use with the negative imperative like don't. If you are using these kind of grammatical part in your sentence, it makes the sentence a little bit pre-oriented related to book, because books always mention don't over there, so don't use it. Avoid phrases like those are universally accepted truth, or the saying, the axioms, those you have to avoid using it, because that does not reveal anything. Those are already widely accepted, but they are looking your perspective. What is your perspective about this word, not about the society perspective, and they are not going to recommend the all society in the armed forces. So your reaction is important there. Next is avoid negative sentences. It is always said that you have to avoid the pessimism in your psychology. So learn that what is the negative and what is positive, because I don't have to make the discretion here. It is already said and well known that what is the meaning of negative and what is the meaning of antisocial. You know that antisocial, like the activities are conducted in JNU, and those people make those slogans. So we are not promote here, and you don't have to use that kind of liberalism. Okay. Next is when you talk about writing a sentence, you can actually underline the word that you are trying to write, like blood. You are writing a sentence on a blood, so blood is coming in the middle of the sentence, so you can underline that. So psychologist can understand you are trying to focus on blood, okay, but you don't get the chance. It doesn't mean, because he always assesses you in a better way, okay, but try to write it, and that is possible when you actually have good speed in sense that you have to practice a lot. So your handwriting matters here, because you are trying to write in a certain way which is legible or not legible, and if it is not legible, that he can't understand, that means he can't give you the enough marks. Okay. So what it helps to improve your psychology, that don't memorize the word or don't memorize the sentences. It is most of the aspirant do, they just write the sentences and they cram them, and they try to write on different parts, like if they have crammed the part like blood donation. So and the donation is there, still they are writing the same word. Blood is there, again they are writing the same word. If the novel comes, again they are writing the same word. So it means they are not exhibiting anything. For one quality, they are giving 4 words in different time in different places. You having no idea that where they are assessing you on what quality. And if you are showing only one quality for 5 sentences, that means the 15 values will be missing somewhere. So write according to it. Okay. The next is practice can help you. Of course, it's actually panacea for any kind of objective that you can attempt. So practice as much you can. Okay, practice means note down the words and start writing them. Don't cram them, or don't read the words from other people and other reactions, or any kind of words are mentioned in books or on online blogs. So avoid pitfalls. Project negative. Pitfall means that you stuck on certain words, like if you stuck on suicide. So that means when suicide comes on the screen, you get blank. So you can note down, make your own sentence, and now you can learn it, because that sentence is yours, not of someone else. So you can note down that one. So that means you can avoid those pitfalls. Next is the negative attitude. Means when you sit down in that testing, you have to sure that I'll write all of them, because 60 words are important there. And people say that the quantity matters here also, because if you miss any word here, that you are missing the traits there. Okay. The next is reduce the blanks. Means as much as possible, you don't have to leave the words unchecked. So don't forget what you don't have to forget. That is, we all know that you have been preparing for the armed forces, and that's why you are surrounded by those kind of paraphernalia. And when word comes like prepare or any kind of word, that you correlate that word with the armed forces. So all the time that you are writing about the armed forces and you are not striking the balance, means you are also missing more of the things. You can note down related words like armed forces, like war cry is there, like cry is there, you can link it to the war cry, right? And if there is a troop is there, you can link it to the armed forces. But all of the like prepare, like you still writing, preparing for the war. So it means that you only writing about the armed forces. You have to note down the words that you have been in the society, like you were in a school, institution, gym, clubs, you were with your father, mother, like that. You have social life, you have religious, right, intuitions. Those you can bring it. And of course, about the defense we have already talked about, and environment means there are a lot of NGOs are working. The reports you can go through. What are their suggestions? The suggestions, it means that you can find, you can generalize those suggestions and can bring them in the WAT. Okay, it's a big word, but actually you can do it a little bit. Okay. So what is your duty? Means of course we say that after going through these slides you will not be master of WAT. Okay, and if you just go through these last 10 minutes I've been speaking, and because of these 10 minutes you will be the master of, I think so, I'm bluffing. You have to do a lot of work for that. So what is your duty every day? The first thing is current affair, means read nice newspaper like Times of India. I would say you not to read Hindustan Time. I'm not vilifying them, but I'm just trying to say that you are aspirant of UPSC and for the armed forces you need to read the qualitative content. So the Hindu gives you that. Okay, so that because it covers a lot of policies of Government of India, a lot of initiatives, and of course a lot of discussions are there on editorial. So you can go through them. That will also help you in your group discussion. Okay, the next is history. The history is very important about the world, about India, ancient, whatever you find. And when you join the armed force you have to also read about military history. So reading is very important for the officer. So start reading newspaper, start reading history. There are a lot of NCRTs are there. If you go through them, you will learn that how the society progressed, and the society has taken a lot of turns, and what were the turns, and you can understand and analyze the situation better. Next is social interaction. That I'm giving you very different slide here. The Indian Army officers are interacting with the Chinese. You meet different kind of people and you learn from them. It is not always that you can find the valuable sentence from the words or on your own thinking. You have to find some words from your elders, from your friends, from your teachers. The social interaction is very important for that, because when you interact with someone, you're interacting with a life. He has learned a lot of things, right? He has learned right through his ups and downs, a lot of failure that he has faced. So those failures and can teach you a lot. So those you can actually make your journal. Maybe yesterday we discussed the journaling is important. You can maintain the video journaling or audio journaling or even the written, but you should have that account of your own inspiration. So these words can be brought in the WAT, and you know it will be amazing that you don't have to think about them. If you are doing these activities, WAT automatically will improve. Okay. Next is scientific temper. Why I say the scientific temper? A lot of things are going on, right, about the world. That about the virus, why it is called corona. These are the question of interview, but we are learning it how we can protect ourselves and how the society is progressing, maintaining the scientific temper. So learn about this. As you all are the student of science, I know that you're going for the TES, you all scored 85 above. It means I don't have to question your abilities, but maintain that one. Okay, you can bring a little bit scientific facts, a lot, not lot, but 1 or 2 sentences you can bring. Motivation, that's very important. That we find Vivekananda or Joseph Murphy or Immanuel Kant, a lot of thinkers were there. So aristocrats. So these thinkers were the motivation for the society, and the society today we can see because of their suggestions. Their suggestion you can find where? I can say that in novels. So read novel, and the reading novel can inspire you to think in a positive way. Okay. Next is you can maintain nice hobbies. When going for gymming, trekking, going for excursion, but go for that. Don't be confined to the 4 walls. And I can tell you that any defense aspirant cannot prepare in a room. He can become an IAS, but not the defense aspirant or defense officer, because he has to do a lot of work, right? So go for trekking, go for running, go to gym, sweat, work hard, because the dopamine will release and you will be so happy, and now you are happy, you can think positively, right? The next is play any game. That's actually very dynamic activities. You must play a game, because you will learn what's the meaning of team spirit And if I start teaching you in slides with the meaning of team spirit without putting you in a team, and I don't think so I can develop that trait. So you can develop the trait by playing the game. Okay, that should be your motive. Okay. Okay. So what are the key, some standard word I have written here. So don't cram them. As I said, you can make your own one, like for discussion. So makes concept easy or makes concept clear. So I was saying, if you use discussion here, you're wasting your time, or place. So what happened? Discussion is there and you're adding the sentence. It's a present indefinite. So you're just simply using it. Discussion makes concept clear, very precise and giving a meaning. Second, happy. So you know that happy family formed right home. So happy is here an adjective. You're using the word as an adjective here. The next is defeat. So you know that the defeat is coming in the middle of the sentence. So there you can underline this one if you can. Okay, like true sportsmen face defeat cheerfully. The defeat is a negative word, but still we are taking it very positively. How the true leader or true sportsman is face the defeat cheerfully. So still defeat is a negative word, but you are imitating the positive quality. Understanding. So team member understand each other. So again the team spirit is there. The next is utilize. So utilization of resources necessary for development. And now how can you make this sentence? If you don't read newspaper, I can assure you, you will never write these kind of sentences. You will be very cozy language you will be using, and the language which is used by any Tom, Dick and Harry, I think so you have to avoid it, like cry. Now we can link this word with the armed forces. So armed forces, you know that war cry is vigor course of inspiration for the soldiers. You can note down for the soldiers. The next is easy. Formula makes problem easy. So I think so these are the words, are the examples, but you don't have to cram them, and you can learn that this is how you have to write. So this is all about the WAT or word association test, and I hope that if you have any kind of query, you can leave it in the comment. So next topic will be covering SRT, means situation reaction test, and it's a very lengthy test. Time is given 30 minutes and there will be 60 SRTs, and the students prefer go above 45 and 50, but I can tell you the quantity does not matter, quality matters. So maintain the quality, but of course you cannot write only 30 or 35, you have to go above 45 and 50. Okay, but your aim should be go above 50. Okay, so what are the general guidelines we will be covering? So first foremost, these are the instructions are there on your sheet, that when you face SSB there will be some instructions are there, and those instructions are written right here. Okay, so you will be given an illustration set followed by the practice set, fill up your tour, right, participate in the answer sheet provided to you. So these are written on your original document. Okay, and this is a test of your imagination. Understand, it's a test of your imagination. It's a big line and you have to find it, and those are commonly known as SRT. Okay, and write your answer in English or Hindi if you can, but I would prefer you to use Hindi there or write English there. Next is, do not turn over the pages until you are told, because you need to be a little bit disciplined on this part. Okay, and next is, in this test a number of situations are presented to you, and so you would like to know why would you feel, think and act on these situations. So this is originally your reactions. Okay, but I can tell you there is nothing wrong and there is nothing right, but what is actually fit for the armed forces they are looking, and that reaction, does it fit your caliber or your personality? That's how they will evaluate you. Not that if I write something and you're going to write the same, so I'll be recommended and you want to be, or I want to be and you will. So understand, this is the situation. Do not think too much about the sentence, because if you think so you will lose the time. Second, that you will make the situation complicated, and if you make the situation complicated, he'll liquidate you on that part. Okay, and you are to write answer in your sheet provided to you. Please do not write anything on the test book, because the test book is there. You don't have to even click it or mark it or tick it. Okay, you have to leave it right intact, and this slide we have already covered. Okay, the time will be shown to you over there. There will be hold time. Understand, this hold time means when the testing starts, then the time is there. It does not matter that what is the time. Okay, so that's we call it hold time. Next tip for the SRT. So, write short and to the point, means the SRTs has to be in the 2 sentences or 2 tenses, I would say. The first, if the SRT is in present, you have to react in the future. If the SRT is in past, it means you have to use past tense. So, this is one thing. Second thing, you have to use short, means if there is a situation that you lose your ticket and you are journeying somewhere else, what will you do? So, that is the situation. So, you have to write in future. Okay. So, immediate action is desired. So, do not overthink, whatever comes in your mind you have to note down, and do not misinterpret, means the situation trying to tell you something else and you understood different, because what happened, people try to use maximum time on the on writing the part. I would say distribute some time on reading the situation. First you read the situation, understand it, then you should write. Otherwise, if you misinterpret, you will write unnecessary reaction which is not required and will not give you any benefit of that. And all the time in the entire SSB or in entire psychology, the quality matters, not the quantity. Okay. So, quality matters means that if you write qualitative 40-45 reactions, that will be more than enough to make you recommended. Okay. But if you write all of 60 SRT, but all are incomplete, not making sense, and you are not completing the entire situation. So, you are writing even 60, but sometimes I find candidate those have attempted all the 60 SRTs, but they get conference out. So, you write own responses are needed, do not write from the books or any other people's reaction. Okay. Improve your written skills, and you do not have to do a lot of rocket science for that. You just have to improve a little bit vocabulary, a little bit grammatical part, and if you read newspaper, I think so you will be mastered here. Okay. So, there are certain situations are given. So, I can give you and I will try to find the answers there. So, he is going to meet his sister in the village, right, 40 km from his home, and he has to pass through a dense forest. Suddenly his bike get punctured. Now, situation has come, right. He is going, this is the introductory part, this is the situation, his bike got punctured. So, this is one situation, right, and the second is it starts raining. So, I mean there is a second situation that you cannot travel. So, you have to wait, and what will you do? That will be your reaction. So, the entire reaction is in present, you have to write he will. Okay. The second situation is he is going to Simla on a visit. Suddenly he don't notice that all his items are stolen. He has no money in his pocket. What he will do? This is the second situation. He is watching a movie in a cinema hall, and he observed that his friend's sister is being teased by some boys sitting next to her. What will you do? So, again there are different kind of situation, and you have to react differently. If I give you my reaction, you will copy them. So, I do not want that, I should give you the reaction. But of course, knowing the all analogy of previous slide, you can find the easily meanings there. Okay. So, next test in our series is ST. We call it self description. So, self description or self appraisal test, and how it is important, because I can tell you boys that there will be 10 minutes and you have to write a lot of paragraphs, and you have to write a lot of paragraphs. It means you cannot think over that, and if you think, you will write very less and you will imitate very less quality there. So, the paragraphs are like opinion from your parents, teacher, senior, like you are not seen, the senior will not be there for you, or the boss, okay, friends, own opinion. So, these are the opinions are needed, and you can write your weaknesses and strength in your own opinion, right, not here. They will appreciate you every time, but when you write your own opinion, then you can show some weaknesses and your strength points. Okay. Do not exaggerate, means do not show off whatever actually a normal human being has, that you can show here. Okay. And do not lessen yourself that you have nothing to show, then why are you here, that means. Okay. Next is about to be noted. This is very important actual slide, that is SSB aspirants should go prepared, means you can note down your self description, because you know that in the entire psychology one will be fixed that you going to note down for your self description. So, you can note down your self description, and then I think so you can memorize it and you can learn it, and then when time comes, so within 10 minutes you can note down all the paragraph without even thinking of it. So SSB aspirants should go prepared with what is written in their self-description, so that it can be written well and quickly in the test. Questions can be answered well without trying to think hard during the interview. Okay. And the self-description will be unique. Don't copy it from anyone else, even the person got recommended or any officer, I could say. Okay. You can learn how the quotation is made, how the entire paragraph structure is made, and how he has been imitating his quality. But you're from different place, you have grown up in different environment, you can't note down the same thing as written by any person or even by the recommended candidate. Okay. So what is the parent's opinion, and what, if I ask your parents that what do you really think about your child, they'll tell a lot of ill and good thing about you, but your mother will tell you a good thing, of course, your father will tell you about the ill thing about you. Okay. So but parents are both. Okay. It's a combination of both people, but here is a part, here you can show a lot of positivity about you. So avoid the negativity, but bring the positivity from there. Okay. Like the mother's opinion about you. Okay. So I can say that the values, they impart a lot of values to you. So you're a man of values or not. So when you write, try to keep it that you follow the values, those are taught by your parents. The next is are you independent or self-reliance, means you do a lot of works in your home, and you wash your own clothes, you clean your own room, you make your own bed, right? Of course your mother prepares your food for you, right? But a lot of things you do by your own self, and even sometime you maintain your pocket money by tuitioning the kids. So that actually leaves a lot of impression on your parents, and they really appreciate that you're trying to be self-reliant or self-independent, right? So you can bring it when you write it. Next is academic and physical abilities. It means academic abilities means that you face a lot of exams and you clear them, and the parents are being informed that your kid scored maximum marks in certain exam. So they feel really proud, and that is what if you have the really academic abilities, the parents really admire that part of their kids. Next is physical abilities, means you follow the sedentary lifestyle. They never appreciate that. If you get up at 9 a.m. So if I ask your parents, right, how's your child, they will say that he's lazy. But if you get up at 4 and you are an early bird, they'll really appreciate that, and you go for a run even. So they will never tell you, okay, don't go for a run. Not nowadays, because there is a different situation, but most of them generalizing the issue that if you do a lot of physical activities, they appreciate that part. Okay. So maturity means the way you tackle the family issue with the mature way, and they really appreciate that part. And career oriented, that you going for the armed forces and you are a teenager, and so they have a lot hope in their eyes that he's career oriented, he's focused for his studies, and his hobbies, his interest is something which will make him a real man. So that is about. And behavior with the society well, means the way you interact with your neighbors, right, your relatives, and teachers, colleagues, your friends, those all give the feedback to your parents, and after that they analyze everything, and then they make your feedback that how the kid is doing. Okay. So these all things are being considered when you write about your parents' opinion. You try to maintain the all amalgam of these points, so you can note down in a better way. Next is the responsibility, means you take responsibility when you are there in your home or in college or anywhere else. You take responsibility. When you make mistakes, still you take responsibility. That shows actually the maturity part. Okay. Now next is teacher's opinion. So what is the requirement of a teacher from their disciples? So that gurus had a lot of trust, and that gurus were the thing. If they give the feedback about any kid, the kid will definitely will make the difference in the society, right? Because their opinion is what that you are actually. Okay. So now we are going to learn the discipline who maintains the class decorum. Means class decorum means you wear the nice outfit, you follow the all instruction, those are imparted to you, and you maintain the all necessary things, those are to be maintained. Okay. Next is punctuality. of course it is also important for the armed forces. And academic proficiency, you can't ignore this fact. It means that if you are weak here, and no matter how much you are good, you are very disciplined, you really punctual, but you fail in certain exams, it means that your teacher is never going to give positive opinion about you. It means that you got to be good in academic proficiency. Okay. Next is participation in extra co-curricular activities. They really feel that if you perform well in other activities, there is a competition, right, of sports or any kind of essay writing, calligraphy, drawing, you participate or even you organize those seminars, and you are the helping hand of the teachers. They really appreciate that part, because that you are showing somehow a leadership there. Okay. Because the leadership is actually built in schools and colleges, because there you get the meaning that how that I have to lead the people, right, like you lead in a class, that's why you called a monitor. When you lead a team, that's why you call a captain there, and when you're organizing the seminar, you said the coordinator. So these means these qualities you can do it better, right, in a school. So that's why altruism, that means that you have to do a lot of work to the without considering your own gain, means without without selfishness, you have to do certain job. Like you having friend who is weak at mathematics, you teach him, not for the money, for the sake of that he can improve, right. You participate in a lot of NGOs, right, you go for the social work, and even you contribute a lot to the school, right, like school fund, or distributing a lot of things about the school, or going or cleaning the school, maintaining the hygiene, everything, that is not thinking about. Next is about the differential, means you are respectful, and we all know that the gurus or the teachers are really respectful, and they observe this part very important, right, very crucially, because if you are not differential, that means they will never like you and you will be in the bad books. But if you are differential, you can fit in other organization easily, because today you give respect to your gurus, tomorrow you can give respect to your seniors, right. Even when you are in the armed forces, you can give respect to your officers, like the gurus are there, somehow in your battalion will be colonel. So if you are not respectful there, I think so you will face dire consequences. So next is about the friend's opinion. So friend's opinion, we know that the friends have different requirement, different demands, other than your parents and teachers, because they think differently, right. And what they think, first thing, they require a person should be confidant, means whom they can share their details, share their secrecy, and you never reveal them. That's why they're called friends. They're going to tell you that they have crush on anyone, and they can tell you only you, and if you actually spill the bean to their parents, you're breaking the very important agreement of friendship. So the person required to be confident. When you write about yourself, that what your friend thinks, that this trait should be there with you. Next is good Samaritan. It means that you are helping hand to them. Every time when they come with the need, you are always there and you always offer your hand, right. That is the part. Next is about the ebullient, means you are very jolly, you are very energetic, you are very joyful and happy. You are not some kind of marooned, and you are not negative person. So when you are some kind of full of enthusiasm, they a lot of like it. People those are introvert, does not speak, they always look sad, nobody is going to like them, and they have very limited friend circle. But if you are ebullient and full of enthusiasm, you will have wide circle of friends, and I think so that makes you a lot of social, social. And of course you need to be smart buddy, and the smart buddy means whatever comes, you solve the situation, and you're really smart in about your outfit, about the wearing, about everything, the way you talk. So that's how the friends like it. Okay, I think so the last one I have given for the girls, but you can understand it. Okay, the next about the own opinion or self opinion. Actually this is very important, because if you know that all the assessors, like not assessors, like your friends, like your relative, your teachers, actually whatever trying to say, you're also confirming that fact. The previous information is corroborated in the own opinion. If you make the oxymoron of this information, that will leave a lot of question marks, because you think that you are very organized, but your teachers think that you are unorganized. It means both things are contradicting. You are not really aware of what you are trying to write. So, never contradict the information here. Okay. So, own opinion is a summation of all opinions of all above. It should include the major points from the opinion of your parents, teacher and friends. Okay. The next is the positive points or negative points you can mention here, right. They have given positive points enough. So, you can bring a lot of things that you be trying to do, right, like I have been working upon. Do not say that these are my negative points. This is what we call it art of writing, that you are trying to say the same thing, but here you are trying to represent the same concept by saying that you have been working upon or you have been improving those skills, like you have been improving your awareness, your spoken language, a lot of things, like your physical. If you are a little bit rotund, you have been running, so that is why you can come into shape. And I think so this is the entire thing about the psychology. So, we have covered the all major 4 part, that is TAT, WAT, SRT and ST. I know that I have given laconic details here, and the practice was not done, but you can practice by yourself, okay, because the instructions are given. You can follow these instructions and you can start improving them. Okay. This is the 3rd day, and we are I am been delivering my lecture on 2nd day. So, I will cover, because the GTO is having 9 tasks. So, it is a very big part. So, I will cover a little bit part today, like group discussion, and you know that in GTO day 1 there are 6 tasks are there, and in entire GTO there are 9 tasks are there. Okay. So, on first day of your GTO there will be GD, military planning, progressive group task, half group task, group obstacle race and individual obstacle. So, there are 6 tasks are there on the day 3rd. Okay. So, what are the key points for the entire concept of the GTO? So, first we will learn that why GTO is important and the general guidelines applies to each and every task. So, first thing you can learn that man is gregarious by nature. What is the meaning of gregarious here? It means one who lives in flock or group. If you live sedentary lifestyle like a saint or ascetic, that cannot survive in the society. You must have heard that saints live outside the society. Their ashrams are different from our society. Nobody is allowed to go there, because they are different people. But as a human being, most of the people live in flock or in a society. So, are you that person? So, why I have given this word? Because the behavior of a man actually in a group is his basic behavior. You think that I am quite social, I do not lose temper, but when it comes in the team, when you are playing any game, you can find that you lose your temper. So, I will tell that you lose your temper, not because that you are alone when you are feel good. Like I can give you 2 examples here. One is about Saurabh Ganguly. So, Saurabh Ganguly was actually considered, he is also a very social person, I am not saying that, I am just trying to say about the temper. So, when he is alone, when he interacts with the media, he is really amazing. But when it comes to the playing part, when he is in the field with his men, you have seen that the way he loses his entire temper. But the same thing you can find with the MS Dhoni. He is also the captain, but in the both circumstances he is equal, means he is always the cool. So, that is what the behavior means. Your behavior in a group is a real behavior, and that is why we want to check your basic behavior. That is why we are going to put you in a group. So, when you are going through in the group task, that is why these are called group tasks, because you will be put in a group and now we will evaluate you. Because in the armed forces you never assigned any work actually which is called the one army man. It is not something like that. Nobody is Salman Khan here, so he can execute all the tasks which are given to him. But here you operate in a team, like when you are a captain you will lead the troop, and without help of your troop you can't execute the task. So, it means that your personality with your men is your real personality, and that we want to check it here. So, that is why that I have given the man is gregarious. The next is group enthusiast. Means when you have the group, you feel really enthusiastic that I can lead the group and I can make my men to do any work. That should be the group. But some people are group, when they face the group and they get demoralized, when they say, okay, how can I lead them, how can I face them? Different people have different potential. Some of them are really good in physics, right, and some of them are really intellectually high, but as a leader you have to accept everyone's traits there. You need to be an extrovert, means you reveal information, so you can maintain the confidentiality between your men, because if you reveal something, if you have something interaction with your men, then they can share their details. If you are introvert, they will also be introvert with you. The next is opportunity to reveal himself fully, means that why the concept is given, that you are given enough opportunity, so whatever you have inside you can reveal. Like the 9 tasks are there and they are motivated in different purpose, so you can show all the things. Next is how can you reveal individually, means you will be given individual chance, like individual obstacle you will be doing it, lecturate you will be doing, individually you are speaking in group discussion, that's your individual, but the way you are interacting with your men, right, the way you are giving your views in a group discussion, that we call it in relation with the others. The next thing is, every time you know that the group tasks are most of the time are considered the groupless task, right, means leaderless task, means the leader is not defined, and the person who starts following the leadership qualities there will start leading them, and that's why we want to check that who will lead the troop. So I'll introduce the entire part today, and tomorrow we will cover the all GTO part. Okay, so first we will have basic series. Basic series means all the candidates, because you know that after getting screened in, only 20 get or 30 get screened in, so they make 3 group or 2 group. If they make 3 group, it means 10 of each, or 2 group means 15 to 12 in each. So they will combine all the candidate and will be given the same task for each and every one. So that's why we call it in basic series integration. How many tasks are there? There are 4 tasks. So first is called the group planning, right, group discussion. Next is called military planning exercise or group planning exercise, right, there can be oblique military planning exercise. PGTs means progressive group task and group obstacle race or snake race. So there are 4 tasks. You can see what is a common thing here, and I know that the first thing is the group is common thing here, that's why it is called integration. So what they actually check, they check in group discussion that how you explore the ideas, means you have different level of knowledge, and do you raise the bar when you start discussing, and you make everyone to discuss the group. Group planning exercise is all about competition of your views, who is more logical and logically sound, that we can make the plan for that. We will be learning separately these tasks, but today I am just introducing them. Progressive task is all about cooperation. If you do not cooperate each other, and I can assure you that you will fail within 2 PGTs. Next is group obstacle race. There are certain rules or do and don'ts are defined by the GTO, and following all the rules, that means you are disciplined and you can crack these basic series. After this, after having checked certain chess numbers on all the group, I have recognized that some chess numbers were really good, and that's why I want closer look, like when I want to zoom it, right. So I want to zoom it, so I'm going to divide these groups into small group, so I can check more. Like for the, you can see, that's why I'm calling it differentiation, means here I was integrating, here I'm differentiating them. How many tasks are there? There are again 4 tasks are there: HGT, lecturate, individual obstacle and command task. These all 4 tasks, I think so, are derived from these 4 tasks. If you are quite master here, you can easily tackle these 4 tasks. So don't worry about them. We will be focusing here and here also. Okay. The next is about the final series, that is FGT, means final group task. It is all about the reintegration. So we were distributed, again we have reintegrated. So I think so, why leaderless group? And you know that you can choose your own role, because you having you have been not authorized to do anything. Whatever you want, you can do it. Either you want to hold the load, or you want to hold the plank, or you want to give the views. It is your role. That's why we have not defined anyone that who is a leader here. That's why it's a leaderless group. engage in collective group activities, means in a group whoever has the better idea can lead the troop. So, that one we want that you have the idea, and this is free interaction, because when you are given authority you do not have authority to challenge that. That is why nobody is given authority. So, that is why every person has authority to interact each other and can find the situation solutions. Stress management means that when there is leaderless group, there is a chaos, people try to make the indisciplined things or do not follow the course of action, and in that situation a lot of stress is put on a candidate, and in that time we want to see that who maintains the tranquility there or coolness in the crisis, like the Dhoni, because there is a situation when the people are failing, they are unable to think whom should he give the ball, but he is the man who always keeps thinking behind those wickets and takes the right decision. So, are you that man? When there is a problem is there, are you that man to take the right decision? I think so. The next session we should continue for tomorrow. We will be covering more important points about the GTO part, and GTO will take a lot of time, I think so. Hopefully tomorrow or day after tomorrow we will continue that, and if you have any problem that I will go through. Okay. Okay, you can give your SD or SAT in Hindi. You can note down. You can note down right now. You can translate it into English, and then you can note down in English over there. So, I think so we can find the middle ground there. Okay.